Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. I'm really excited to bring you this video because in this video what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because I personally wanted to make a video of the Motorola ZX and the Motorola ZX Pro televisions. The Motorola ZX Pro is an upgraded model over the Motorola ZX, which came out last year in 2019, and I wanted to make a video which highlights all the key differences between them, how Motorola has actually improved their 2020 model over the last year's model. Now, of course, the reason was because I wanted to bring this content to all you good folks so that you can make an informed decision while you're buying a television. Apart from that, a few of you had also reached out to me in my comment section and had asked me or requested me to make a video comparing the Nokia 50-inch, the 50-inch model specifically, to other televisions in this price range. So that's also something that we're going to do in this video. Now this video is going to be very detailed because we're going to go over the two most important factors that impact our buying decision while we are out to buy a television. What are those two reasons? Picture quality, sound quality. And we don't buy a television without these two key reasons. Now apart from that, the other prerequisite of making this video was the television should be 50 inches. Not 43, not 55, not 65. This is a comparison specifically for 50-inch models. Number 4, it should be priced at either 35,000 or below 35,000 rupees. Now, what I also wanted to put out was a small disclaimer stating that the Motorola ZX Pro 2020 model, the 50-inch model, all right, it does not show as being available on Flipkart right now. It says coming soon. Having said that, they have already released the 43-inch and the 55-inch model. They are ready for purchase. So I believe it's just a matter of days, and I'm assuming it's a matter of days before they release the 50-inch model of the Motorola ZX Pro 2020 edition as well. So with that said, lots and lots that we have to discuss in this video. So stay tuned till the end of the video to find out who comes out on top and who is worthy of your hard-earned money. So let's get started, folks. Okay, let's first start with the pricing of each of these televisions. Now the Nokia television is priced at 34,999. The Motorola ZX is priced at 32,999, and the Motorola ZX Pro is also priced at 34,999. So in terms of pricing, I believe the only model which is cheaper within all these is the ZX, simply because of the fact that it is a 2019 model and not a 2020 model. Both the Nokia and the ZX Pro have been released this year in 2020. So in terms of pricing, nothing is different if you compare the ZX Pro to the Nokia. They're both priced at 34,999. Okay, now that we have spoken about the pricing, let's move ahead with the processing power of all these televisions. Okay, let's start with the Nokia television. The Nokia television comes with the MediaTek quad-core processor, which is the CA55 quad-core processor. Now, generally, the CA55 is clocked at around 1.8 to 2 gigahertz. However, none of that information is available either on Flipkart or even on Nokia's website. So it's still a little unclear as to what it's clocked at. But the processor in the Nokia television is the CA55 quad-core. Now, when it comes to the Motorola ZX 2019 model, the Motorola ZX 2019 model comes with a MediaTek 50 quad-core CA53 processor, and that was clocked at 1 gigahertz. That's it, just 1 gigahertz. Now, when we move over to the 2020 model, which is the Motorola ZX Pro, it is clearly stated that it still comes with the MediaTek CA53 quad-core processor, but it's now clocked at 1.5 gigahertz. So they've made a slight improvement in the processing power that is included in the television. Now, as far as the graphic processing goes on these televisions, the Nokia comes with the Mali 470 quad-core graphic processing. All right. And when it comes to the Motorola ZX 2019 model, it comes with the Mali 450 quad-core processing power. And finally, when it comes to the Motorola ZX Pro, the 2020 model, this has the Mali G52 quad-core graphics engine. And comparatively, out of all these, this obviously is I would say, the best among the three models that we are talking about. So the graphic processing on the Motorola ZX Pro is comparatively better to the other two televisions. Let's move on to the second section, which is, apart from the pricing and the processing power, the RAM and the storage. Now the Nokia comes with a standard 2 gigabytes worth of RAM and 16 gigabytes worth of internal storage. Now the Motorola ZX, the 2019 model, it comes with an unusual 2.25 gigahertz of RAM, but still 16 gigabytes worth of internal storage. Now the Motorola ZX Pro, which is the 2020 model, comes with a 2 gigabytes worth of RAM and 32 gigabytes worth of internal storage. Now, in case you're wondering, does it really matter to have 16 or 32 gigabytes? Well, I would say that it only matters if you are one of those people who actually downloads quite a lot of applications, apart from your standard streaming platforms like Hotstar, Netflix, or Prime Video. Like, for instance, if you are somebody who likes playing these mobile games or games which are available on the Android Play Store, then yes, it would make sense for you to go ahead and get a television which has 32 gigabytes worth of internal storage. Otherwise, trust me when I say this, 16 gigabytes worth of internal storage is more than enough if you're only into watching videos or movies on these streaming applications. Apart from that, you do have an option of plugging in an external pen drive and using it as an internal storage. So you can boost your internal storage from 16 gigabytes worth to even maybe 32 or even more than that if you want to, by using a pen drive and formatting that as an internal storage. So whether it's 16, whether it's 32, I don't think it's going to be making much of a difference. So don't worry about this section, although among the three, the Motorola ZX Pro tops this one out because of the 32 gigabytes worth of internal storage, which comes by default. Now, as far as the operating system goes, the Nokia television comes with the Android 9, which is the Android Pie TV operating system, whereas the Motorola ZX, it came with the Android 9 out of the box. Although I've heard that they are offering Android 10 upgrades, I haven't really seen or checked it out for myself, so I can't really vouch for that. But speaking about the Motorola ZX Pro, the 2020 model, it comes with Android 10 out of the box. So in terms of the operating system, you are definitely future-proofing yourself because Android 10 is comparatively faster. The user interface is more seamless, you could say, comparatively, and there are more features which make it function effectively or faster. So yes, if you talk about future-proofing, then definitely Android 10 is better than Android 9. So again, Motorola ZX Pro scores out and comes on top with the operating system as well. Now the refresh rate, speaking of that, it all comes with a standard 60 Hz panel. All these televisions have 60 Hz refresh rate, which means that it is capable of playing those 60 frames per second videos and even games in 60 frames per second, provided you have actually connected your computer over to this. Because if you're playing out of a console, then unless you have a PS5 or maybe the latest Xbox Series X, you can't really enjoy 4K 60 FPS because the PlayStation 4 Pro, which was the last gen, it offered 4K resolution, but that was at only 30 frames per second. Having said that, the televisions are capable of topping out at 60 frames per second. And I have made other videos as well where I've shown that Nokia clearly has a 60 Hz refresh panel. If you check out my gaming review of the Nokia television, I shall have the link somewhere listed here. Feel free to go ahead and check that. 60 Hz means 60 frames per second, and I believe that is good enough for any movie or any videos that you're watching. But in terms you're a hardcore gamer, like somebody who is into semi-professional or professional gaming, then you're better off using a monitor or a television which is dedicated for gaming. As an instance, something which comes with a 120 Hz refresh panel, not a 60 Hz refresh panel. But in my personal opinion, people like you and me, I think we're good with 60 Hz refresh panel because it's fantastic to watch movies and videos on this, and it's gonna perform seamlessly. So don't worry about that at all. Coming to the HDR now, all these televisions come with HDR 10. However, the Nokia television comes with only HDR 10, whereas the Motorola, whether it's the 2019 model or even the 2020 model, they both come with Dolby Vision. Now, in case you're wondering what exactly is Dolby Vision, Dolby Vision is nothing but an advanced form of HDR, because HDR itself has different forms. You have HDR, you have HDR 10 plus, you have HLG, which is also a form of HDR, and then you have Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision is supposed to be the topmost variant of the HDR, and obviously, being the topmost variant, you can expect more vibrant colors, and the processing of the fast moving pictures, lights, colors, contrast, etc., to perform comparatively better to the standard HDR 10 or the HDR 10 plus. HDR 10 plus and Dolby, they're more or less very similar, but the Nokia television comes with only HDR 10 and not Dolby Vision, whereas the Motorola ZX and the ZX Pro, both of them come with the Dolby Vision HDR. Now, moving on to the audio section of these televisions, I have personally used Nokia television. I have that in my bedroom, and it has 48 watts of output and Onkyo sound, which they call 6D sound. So it is definitely capable of Dolby audio, and even the other televisions in this range, which is the Motorola ZX and the ZX Pro, are capable of Dolby audio. However, the Motorola ZX Pro tops this one out because not only does it support Dolby audio, but it also supports Dolby Atmos. Now, in case you're wondering what exactly is the difference, does it actually make a difference? Well, to the audiophiles, yes, maybe it may make a difference, but to, again, regular people like you and me, I don't think we'll be able to figure out, the difference. If we go technically and speak about it, then the difference between Dolby audio and Dolby Atmos is that it encodes at a higher frequency than Dolby audio. So Dolby Atmos, I think the encoding happens at somewhere between over 382 kbps, whereas in Dolby audio and only audio alone, it is somewhere around 98 to maybe 128 kbps. I'm not so sure about the stream rates, but you can check it out online by just running a simple Google search, which is Dolby audio versus Dolby Atmos. But the only difference between the two is the higher encoding at a higher bitrate. So that's the difference. And technically, it's supposed to give you crisper audio and audio which is clearer because it's encoding at a higher bitrate. But to people like you and me, again, it's not going to make much of a difference. 6D sound on the Nokia television, out of my personal experience, of course, is fantastic. I've already spoken enough about the sound quality in all my previous videos, so feel free to check them out. But you will not be disappointed, is what I'm trying to say. Now, when it comes to Dolby Atmos, yes, I've seen and read a lot about it. Some people really have made a point that it makes a difference, and I have not personally experienced it, but they say that it does make a difference. So if you consider that as a buying, or a decision-making feature, then the only model in this list which actually comes with Dolby Atmos is the Motorola ZX Pro, the 2020 model. And the Nokia TV and the ZX does not come with Dolby Atmos. And while we're still at the audio section of this video, the highest output comes out of the Motorola ZX Pro. With the Dolby sound, with the DTS, with the Dolby Atmos, it tops out at 50 watts sound output, and Nokia comes second with the 48 watts sound output, and coming in last place would be the 2019 Motorola ZX, which only has 30 watts sound output. But speaking of the watts, sometimes it's not just about the watts output, but it's also about the technology used. It's also about how well they have integrated the sound with the television. I can personally vouch for Nokia TV and say that the 6D sound is simply spectacular, outstanding, and it will not disappoint you. when it comes to the previous generation Motorola ZX 2019 model, 30 watts might not be that much on paper, but if you have a small room, for instance, say a room which is around 120 square feet, then I think the 30 watt sound output should be enough and sufficient for a room that size. But if you have placed that television in a bigger living area, for instance, if your living area is around maybe 300 or 400 square feet, just as an example, then obviously the more the merrier, or the higher the better. So in this case, the 50 watts sound output would definitely come in handy. And if this impacts your decision, then this is a feature to watch out for, because a lot of people buy televisions simply because of the picture quality and because of the sound. So in terms of sound, the Motorola ZX Pro 2020 model comes out on top, not just because of the 50 watt sound output, but also because of the fact that it is the only television in this list which has Dolby Atmos. Now, speaking of connectivity, this is a sore point when it comes to the Nokia television, because in 2020, Nokia TV has offered only a single band Wi-Fi, which is the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Now, even the previous year model of Motorola ZX, the Motorola ZX only comes with single band Wi-Fi, which is 2.4 gigahertz. Now, this is where things have changed in 2020. They got smart and they released the ZX Pro with dual band Wi-Fi, which means it supports both frequencies of 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And if you are into 4K viewing, for instance, if you watch a lot of videos in 4K 60 frames per second, or if you're watching a lot of Netflix content and you want to watch content in Dolby Vision 4K, then I would suggest that you go in for a television which has at least dual band Wi-Fi, like the 5 gigahertz worth of Wi-Fi, because the faster internets, they require you to use hardware or a router which supports 5 gigahertz. All right, you won't get those high speeds of 500 Mbps or 1 Gbps on a router which is on the 2.4 gigahertz. So this is a point to note. Having said that, my internet in my room is not very fast, and I just use a connection which is around 70 Mbps on my television with the single band Wi-Fi, and I think I've been able to capture somewhere between real-time Mbps or real-time speed of between 16 to 18 Mbps on the Nokia TV with the single band Wi-Fi, and I have been able to stream 1440p seamlessly. Sometimes it does struggle with 4K content, but I guess it depends on the the internet fluctuation and my connection. It has nothing to do with the TV. If I place the TV with a higher internet connectivity, for instance through 40 to 50 Mbps, then I'm sure that it would be able to play those 4K videos seamlessly. Having said that, some people might be complaining about that, and they have every right to, because 2020, man, you should have offered at least dual band Wi-Fi. This is a sore point for the Nokia television, and this is a point which may impact your buying decision heavily. So if I were to turn back time, go back, and if I were given a choice, then I would perhaps change my buying just on this one point, dual band Wi-Fi, because dual band Wi-Fi makes a difference. We watch everything online these days. Everything is online, and mostly a lot of content comes out in 4K HDR now. And to be able to enjoy that seamlessly, you do need a high connection, a high speed internet connection, that is, and you have a better chance of getting that with a 5 gigahertz router. And it's always good to have both the options of 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. One should not be limited to just one. So Nokia in 2020, they made a bad decision by going in for just single band Wi-Fi. The 2019 model of the Motorola ZX, well, it's from 2019. So I don't really have that complaint against the last year model. Coming in 2020, they corrected themselves. So kudos to them for bringing in dual band Wi-Fi on the Motorola ZX Pro. So Motorola ZX Pro again comes out on top when it comes to the Wi-Fi connectivity. Now the next feature that I'm talking about is a very contested or debated feature, which is the MEMC feature, which a lot of televisions, high-end televisions, actually started offering. So it started with the Samsung and the LG televisions, where they started offering motion smoothing or motion compensation. So even movies which are generally shot in 24 frames per second, what MEMC does is it inputs more frames into the video so that the video appears to be smoother than usual. Now, a lot of video directors, content makers are not fond of MEMC. In fact, a lot of actors have spoken publicly against the use of MEMC. I can definitely think of one very popular actor, Tom Cruise, who has openly spoken about not using MEMC while you're watching movies. Having said that, MEMC is fantastic for fast moving objects. So if you're into sports like car races, or even if you're watching a game of soccer as an example, MEMC is going to come handy. Basketball, fantastic. Football, fantastic. Car races, fantastic. So if you're into fast moving objects, then you will definitely love MEMC, and having this feature is better than not having the feature. Now, both the Nokia televisions and the last gen Motorola ZX, which is 2019 model, did not come with MEMC. Now, in case you're wondering, hey, wait a minute, the 2019 model did come with MEMC. Yes, but only in the top end range, which is the 65-inch model, did it offer the MEMC, but not in the 43-inch and not in the 50-inch. This year it's changed. Now what they've done is, instead of offering MEMC, they have come up with something called RTCE, which is a real-time compensation engine. Now this is an advanced version of MEMC, and generally computer monitors use this, and that's why I've always recommended that in case you are into gaming, you use a computer monitor instead of a television. So this is a technology which is now migrated from computer monitors over to television, and Motorola is bringing this technology to their ZX Pro, the real-time compensation engine, the RTCE, which is nothing but motion compensation. So it works exactly like MEMC. It will smooth out objects. Movies will now play at 60 frames per second instead of the native resolution that it was shot at, which was 24 frames per second. So it has a very polarizing kind of a thing here, because some people love MEMC, some people hate MEMC to the core. I am of the opinion that you should have the feature available on the television, and you should be given the choice whether you wish to switch it on or off. And it is always better to have a feature and the ability to turn it off or on than to not have that feature at all. So even in this case, the Motorola ZX Pro has that option where you can turn it on or off. So motion compensation, motion smoothing can be turned on or off. Now in case you're watching videos on YouTube, it's fine. If you're watching sports, highly recommended. But if you're watching movies, then you may want to tune it down. Either keep it at a low setting, or you can turn it completely off. Because if you really want that cinematic experience, then a lot of movie producers, movie creators, they recommend that you should not use the MEMC and you should turn it off while you're watching movies at least. So if you want to honor what they're saying, you could turn it off. I personally like it. I like watching movies with the MEMC tuned to high setting. So and I let it be that because in my other TV I have this option where I can turn the MEMC on or off. I keep it on always because I love that effect. I love watching everything in that smooth way, and for people who want to have that experience of watching content on high-end televisions like Samsung or LG, this was something which was offered only on very expensive televisions like 4 or 5 years back, but now even budget televisions have this option. So if this impacts your buying decision, this is an important point to note as well, whether it has MEMC or whether it does not have MEMC. The only television in this range right now which offers that is the Motorola ZX Pro, the 2020 model. So keep that in mind while you're making a purchase, because it might be an important feature to you. Okay, lastly we come to the rating section. I have spoken about this in my previous videos as well. I do look at a lot of ratings and reviews by customers or consumers who have bought. However, the validity, the authenticity of these ratings or reviews, I'm not so sure, because I've read or seen many funny comments as well. But in terms of the ratings and reviews, obviously Nokia television, it's been around for some time now. It's launched for a little over 2 months, and in those 2 months it has an average star rating of 4.3. It's been able to get 2,644 ratings and 548 reviews as of today. And if I'm saying today means the 20th of December when I'm recording this video. Now the Motorola ZX, the 2019 model, obviously has a lot more ratings because it's been there for over a year now. And it has 17,243 ratings and 3,024 reviews, most of which have been positive. And people have spoken about it positively. So that means, Motorola has done something right with the television, where the majority seems to be liking the television. Now, the Motorola ZX Pro 50-inch does not have any ratings because it is still coming soon. It's not been released. The 43-inch model and the 55-inch model have been released officially. There is no word on the official release date of the 50-inch yet, but in case, they do come up with it, I'd be happy to put it up in the comment section later on. But as of today, there is no release date. But having said that, since they've already released the 43 and the 55-inch model, I believe it's just a matter of days or maybe a week or so when they would release the 50-inch model as well. And since it's not been released, therefore you don't see any ratings. But going by what Motorola gathered with their previous model, which is the 2019 model, then obviously, the ratings and the reviews have been very, very positive. Now, the one last thing that I do want to mention, and which you do not see on the screen, is the fact that the Motorola ZX and the ZX Pro, they also come with a true 10-bit panel. And the Nokia television comes with only an 8-bit panel plus FRC. Now, in case you're wondering what exactly is the difference, again, in this case, the higher the better. A 10-bit panel is able to put out over 1.07 billion colors. And they are able to do that without any compensation or any addition or any added technology. Whereas the 8-bit FRC plus FRC panel, they are also able to put out 1 billion colors, but it really has to work for it. So you can imagine that a 10-bit panel, a true 10-bit panel, is always going to be better than an 8-bit plus FRC panel. And apart from that, when it comes to the panel, the Nokia television comes with a VA panel, whereas the Motorola television, whether it's the 2019 or whether it's the 2020 model, it's an IPS panel. And in fact, from what they have advertised, it's an LG panel that they have used. And LG panels are generally very good. They're very good quality. And I personally had a LG TV in the past myself, and the quality of the panel was extremely good, very satisfactory. Never gave any issues whatsoever. So as far as panel goes, you have a VA versus IPS. In case you're watching the television from an angle, then I would recommend that you go in for the IPS panel. But if you're watching the television from not an angle, like you're sitting right in front of the television, then a VA panel definitely, I believe, has better blacks. The contrast ratios, I personally find, is better on VA panels than on IPS. But in this case, you have 8-bit plus FRC versus a true 10-bit panel, and I believe a true 10-bit panel is definitely better than the 8-bit plus FRC panel. Okay, so it's finally the time to conclude this video. What are my thoughts? What would I recommend? And what would I buy if I were you? Now, before I get to that, first of all, I would like to say kudos to the team at Motorola, because what they have done is they have seen a lot of reviews, they have heard their customers, and they have literally gone ahead and upgraded their 2020 model and improved it so much more. And you have massive improvements in terms of the sound, in terms of the picture quality, in terms of the overall value for money. So I would like to say a big kudos to the Motorola team. Now, since I've already said that, I think you have got the gist of what I'm about to say next. Now, the winner clearly in this comparison is the Motorola ZX Pro, the 2020 model. And that's because of some key reasons. First of all, in 2020, it is extremely important for one to have dual band Wi-Fi. And Nokia television is very guilty of not having the dual band Wi-Fi included in their 2020 model. If it was 2019, well, we understand. But in 2020, come on Nokia, you could have actually done that. You could have given us dual band Wi-Fi. So Motorola succeeds in doing that. Apart from that, obviously Dolby Vision is a big reason as to why you should actually choose the Motorola television, because it's an advanced form of HDR. And not only that, you also have Dolby Atmos with 50 watts sound output. So Dolby Atmos is definitely going to be better in comparison to the standard Dolby Plus or the DTS, True Surround Sound. So apart from that, you also have the Android 10 TV OS. How can one forget that? Now we are towards the end of 2020 and we are heading into 2021. So if you're buying a television, you would obviously keep future-proofing in mind, because this is not something that you buy and then you change after 4 to 5 months. In fact, a television stays with you for 5 to 6 years. Having said that, it's important for you to buy a technology or invest in technology which is at least 5 to 6 year future-proofed. And that's one of the key reasons as to why buying a Motorola ZX Pro with the Android 10 TV experience makes a huge difference. And apart from that, obviously, when it comes to the picture quality, I do have to mention that they have a true 10-bit panel. And their panel is generally from LG, whereas the Nokia television has an 8-bit panel plus FRC. Now, I could make a detailed video highlighting what is the difference between 8-bit plus FRC versus 10-bit, but that's not something that I'm going to harp on right now. But a 10-bit panel is definitely comparatively better to an 8-bit plus FRC. And apart from that, it also has an IPS panel compared to VA panels. Now, you give some, you get some. So with IPS, you get better viewing angles. You get, color saturation could be better. However, the contrast ratios, the blacks are deeper in a VA panel. Out of my personal experience, I'm saying that. So, having taken all these points into consideration, and we've gone through quite a lot, haven't we? I would say the Motorola ZX Pro clearly comes out on top and is the clear winner of our comparison today. So it definitely deserves your hard-earned money. So if you're planning to buy a television, if you're planning to spend that money, it would be well spent on the Motorola ZX Pro 2020 model, not the 2019. That is an important point to keep in mind. I've also put out the model numbers here on the screen so that you can take a look at it and then make an informed decision. That brings us to the end of this video, folks. Hope you have liked this video. Hope you have enjoyed this. If you want me to put out more content like this, do let me know in the comments section below. If you want me to make some other videos, then I'd be happy to make them. And I'm here for you. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort because this is not my day job. I am not a YouTuber. I have a regular job where I spend most of my time. I take out my time and make these videos when I'm not working. So having said that, I would suggest and recommend and request you all to hit that like and subscribe button, because it encourages and it motivates me to put out more content for you all. So even if you want to share it with your friends and family members who want to purchase a television, please go ahead and do that. And again, it's my humble request that please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to get notified with all my latest videos, also hit that bell icon, because as soon as I put out a video, you will get a reminder of watching that video. So having said that, let's end this video now. Hope you folks enjoyed it. Take care, folks. Stay safe, and season's greetings to all of you. May the season bring joy, happiness, prosperity to you and yours. God bless you all.